We're there.
Good evening. Welcome to the Township of Lacey Caucus meeting, April 10, 2014. Adequate notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act pursuant to Public Laws 1975. Said notice was advertised in the Lacey Beacon and was posted on the bulletin board showing the time and the place of the meeting. Are we going to begin with a salute to the flag, please? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a bunch of proclamations tonight. We're going to start off with item number 1, proclamation for National Library Week. Nancy, come on up to the mic.
Yes. Whereas libraries help lives change in their communities, campuses, and schools, and whereas librarians work to meet the changing needs of their communities, including providing resources for everyone and bringing services outside of library walls. Whereas libraries and librarians bring together community members to enrich and shape the community and address local issues. Whereas librarians are trained professionals, tech-savvy professionals providing technology training and access to downloadable content like ebooks. Whereas libraries offer programs to meet community needs, providing residents with resume writing classes, 24/7 homework help, and financial planning services to teens applying for student loans and to older adults planning their retirement. Whereas libraries continuously grow and evolve in how they provide for the needs of every member of their communities. And whereas libraries and librarians, library workers, and supporters across America are celebrating National Library Week, now therefore be it resolved that I, Gary Quinn, Mayor of the Township of Lacey, hereby proclaim April 13th through the 19th, 2014 to be National iLibrary Week. He encourages all residents to visit the library this week and to take advantage of the wonderful library resources available at your library. Let lives change at your library.
Nancy, on behalf of the committee, I'm proud to honor this proclamation. For those of you that don't know, Nancy down the library runs what's called Meet the Mayor once a month, and she's been doing it for years. The library's been doing it even before Nancy got there. And that's just one of the programs that they're doing to try and get us more available to the public that don't want to come stand in front of this microphone and be on TV and speak. So we thank you for that. I know those of us that have been Mark and Dave have all done it. You'll be seeing Peter, we'll see if I get tonight, Peter and Stephen in the upcoming years. But it's a great tool. It's truly a great tool, and I've enjoyed it so far this year. But that's only one of the things to do. So I'm going to give you the opportunity for you to speak a little bit on behalf of the library. But congratulations to the both.
My name is Nancy Bontavoyko. I'm the branch manager of the Lacey Library. I've been there for about a year now. Please forgive my back. I don't want to capture to people. But I want to thank the mayor for this proclamation commemorating National Library Week. And I truly just appreciate the support from the town and the town council. And now we're really trying to work together, not just, the library doesn't stand alone. We work with the community. We work for the community. And we are part of the Lacey Township. We want to be there for you and fulfill the needs that you have for information. We're not just about books anymore. I think most of you might know that. We have not just books, but CDs and magazines and movies and all that stuff, but a lot of great programs. But did you know, and I'm going to be leaving literature here for whoever happens to come here, we now have a mobile app, if anybody is savvy with their iPhones, a downloadable mobile app that you can download books, information. If you have an iPhone, Android, BlackBerry, Windows, you can now get information right there at your fingertips. But also, we partner with other organizations, for instance, like the Talking Book and Braille Center. If you or you know somebody who has visual limitations, we have the Outspoken Library, which looks like a computer terminal. A lot of people think it's a regular computer terminal at our library. But at this particular terminal, you can order books for those who are visually impaired. You can sign up for it. We will help you with it. So I'm going to leave flyers for that too. And this is in partnership with the Talking Book and Braille Center. I don't know how many of you also know this is National Autism Awareness Month. And so we have a lot of materials at the library. If you or anybody you know is on the autism spectrum, we have a lot of information on that. And we have programs throughout the year to support those who know and love someone with autism or who are on the spectrum. We also have programs for adults, such as Fed Up Senior Fraud Presentation, which is in conjunction with the New Jersey Division of Consumer Affairs. So that's going to be on April 22nd. We have stuff going on all the time. I'm just going to highlight a few. And if anybody's into food and good health, we have Spring into Health and also Forks and Fears, presented with dietitians, and also with the Forks and Fears is by the Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield that will come to us on the 28th of April. For children, many of you already know, we have the therapy dogs come on the fourth Thursday of the month. We actually have trained therapy dogs, and children who are reluctant readers can come and read to these dogs. These are gentle, trained, beautiful dogs. And they'll just lay over, and you can rub their bellies and read a book to them. And for children who are afraid or shy, it really helps them come out of themselves. And so we're very proud of our dogs. And they're there every month on the fourth Thursday at 4 o'clock. And also this month, we have El Dia de los Niños, which is really stories and programs, crafts from around the world. It's a program about stories and crafts from around the world. And that's going to be on April 30th. I'm sorry, I'm talking very fast. I know I do that.
Oh, that's slow.
Okay. The most important thing I wanted to mention, actually, I'm going to hold up the poster. I'm going to leave it here with the council because we're working along with, this is a very important program, and one of my librarians was just at the task force meeting. Camera's this way, sorry.
It's okay.
I'm used to an audience, not a camera. Tools for Teens. We have a program about drug abuse and awareness, and this is going to be on heroin. The date of this important program is on Monday, April 28th at 6:30. Lieutenant Joe Panzaro is going to talk about the effects of heroin on the body, how to tell if someone is using, what the legal ramifications are if you're caught using or dealing. This is a program for parents, grandparents, anybody. It's for everybody, really. You need to know that this is going on in our community. It's no secret all over Ocean County, and we're doing our best. We're working with the task force to get the word out. Please come and learn about this. The more we're educated about this, the more we can do to prevent it. I'm leaving a poster here about this. For educators, if any educators are here or watching this, there's professional development certificates available. And that's just a very important program. It's throughout the Ocean County Library System, but in Lacey Township, it is on April 28th, starting at 6:30 promptly. So please do come out to get more information. And I just want to always put this out to you that we are here for you. We're part of the community, and we want to hear from you. If you have things that you love about the library, things that you want to see at the library, come talk to me. I have an open door, and I work with other organizations in the town. The mayor we are so lucky he comes out. This has been going on for years, the second Tuesday of every month. Come out and talk to the mayor. I'm just repeating what he said, but I really want to stress that. It's relaxed, it's informal. Come and use the library. We're here for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Nancy covered a lot of what they do, but the key component that I see with Nancy and the staff is you're out at so many different venues getting the word out. I know every other month or so you're at the senior luncheon down here in town, talking about different programs, talking about things that you run for the seniors, which is all in addition to what you spoke about tonight. So you're doing a fabulous job. I'm impressed every time I go there because there's so many people that come into the building. I really kind of strayed away from libraries for a number of years before I got involved in politics, but it's very, very important that people know all the services that you provide. So
thank you.
We truly thank you for everything you're doing.
Appreciate it.
Yes, give me these in them.
Mayor, you don't mind if I
No,
say
right
something, do you? Nancy, I just want to thank you for being another important part of our task force because you know that it's going to take the whole community coming together, and I'm very proud of the Ocean County Library for really helping us with dealing with this drug epidemic. And, I believe that you're going to have a great impact as far as in a positive direction as far as fighting this epidemic. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Tom, hopefully you can get that up, maybe scroll it for the 28th for that event.
Again, thank you very much, Nancy. Okay, item number 2, second reading of ordinance 2014-05, establishing a policy.
You're on the wrong agenda.
Oh, what am I doing?
Wow, you're rushing along here. Woo.
Somebody shifted me.
Yeah.
That's right, we got 3 proclamations. Item number 2, proclamation for National Alcohol Awareness Month.
Whereas alcohol is the #1 drug of choice for America's young people and a primary factor in the 4 leading causes of death for young persons ages 10 to 21. Whereas the month of April will be filled with local, state, and national events aimed at educating people about the treatment and prevention of alcoholism in schools, colleges, churches, and countless other community organizations. Whereas alcohol use by young people is extremely dangerous both to themselves and to society, and is directly associated with traffic fatalities, violence, suicide, educational failure, alcohol overdose, unsafe sex, and other problem behaviors. Annually, over 6,500 people under the age of 21 die from alcohol-related accidents, and 1,000 more are injured. Whereas additionally, 7,000 kids in the United States under the age of 16 take their first drink, and those who begin drinking before age 15 are 4 times higher to develop alcoholism than those who begin after the age of 21. Whereas more than 1,700 college students in the U.S. are killed each year, about 4.65 a day, as a result of alcohol-related injuries. Whereas 25% of the U.S. children are exposed to alcohol use disorders in their family, and underage alcohol use costs the nation an estimated $62 billion annually. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Township Committee of the Township of Lacey that Lacey Township does hereby proclaim April as National Alcohol Awareness Month in 2014 in Lacey Township to increase awareness of the dangers and issues associated with alcohol abuse.
Okay, I don't believe we have anyone here for this tonight, so I'm going to turn this over to Committeeman Curatello, and maybe you can bring it to the proper people at the Board of Health for us.
Absolutely.
Want to say a few words on it?
Yes, I would like to. Thank you, Mayor. And, you know, we're constantly, and you know, it's very appropriate that the first proclamation was our library. The County Health Department has an outstanding relationship, and we're out of the silos. We work with them, our consumer affairs, and we get the word out for our seniors and our students, everyone in the middle. Alcohol, you know, when I go out to the high schools and I talk about it, you know, when you talk about public health, a lot of times people think about different things. Alcohol's related to them, too, as well. I'm talking about oral, esophageal cancer, breast, liver cancer, colorectal cancer. You use alcohol regularly, you run the risk. That all goes up from there. So now, you know, also, then we can talk about the motor vehicle accidents and how just about half of the accidents involve alcohol or substance abuse. When we talk about domestic violence, when I go to the high schools, I talk about what I call human wreckage. And these are the people who don't drink a drop of alcohol or touch drugs, but they're the family members and the kids that see all this fallout, police involvement, courts, DIFUS. And, you know, if we have a robust prevention arm, we'll need less money for treatment. So I'm asking everyone to bind together with us. We have a mayor and a committee up here, and all my colleagues that are sitting here now that are vested in this, and we have partners in our library system, and of course our municipal alliance. So I look forward to fighting. That's what I do full-time every day. I fight the fight. So, and I'm not alone. I'm just one person. I'm fortunate enough to be up here and speaking about it, but that's because I don't want it to fall on deaf ears. I'm very proud of this proclamation, and I hope that we move forward together as a community and continue these education and prevention efforts. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, item number 3, proclamation for Autism Awareness Month.
Whereas autism spectrum disorder is a lifelong developmentally disability consisting of a broad group of disorders that vary widely from mild to severe, and is characterized by difficulty with social interactions, communication, severely limited interest, and repetitive behaviors. Whereas autism is the third most common developmental disability, affecting 1.5 million individuals nationwide. Whereas the lifelong nature of autism spectrum disorder and other developmental disabilities requires a variety of types of assistance at different points in an individual's life. Whereas although a cure for autism has not been found, persons with autism can be helped to reach their greatest potential. Accurate early diagnosis and the resulting appropriate intervention, education, and support are vital to the highest quality of life for the individual. Whereas advocacy organizations such as Parents of Autistic Children and Autism New Jersey have dedicated years of service in their ongoing efforts to promote community inclusion, awareness, support, and appropriate education of all persons with autism. Whereas these organizations remain committed to their cause and to educating families, professionals, and the general public to better understand and treat this lifelong disability. Whereas autism is a complex disability that requires increased research to one day find a cure and means of prevention, along with greater recognition and understanding to ensure that all Americans with autism are accurately diagnosed and appropriately treated throughout their lives. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Township Committee of the Township of Lacey that Lacey Township do hereby proclaim April 2014 as Autism Awareness Month.
And again, we don't have anyone here this evening to pick this up, but we are going to forward it on. There is an autism support group here in town that we're in contact with on a regular basis. It's an issue. It's a situation that is so important to put light on and emphasis on. If you drive around town this month, you'll see a lot of buildings with the blue lights out on the outsides of the buildings, including Town Hall here, which is the reason for that is because of autism awareness. It's a situation that really affects a lot of people. I think everybody you talk to knows somebody or has somebody that in their family that has been affected by it. Certainly in my family, I do have a nephew with it, and it's so important to continue to fight to try and provide number one, the services for these people, which the schools do an outstanding job in doing, but more so to try and find a reason why it occurs and find a way to bring a cure to make sure that it's put to rest and doesn't continue to affect children moving forward. So it's a very important cause. All three, the library is very important to us. We again thank you for coming out tonight, and certainly the alcohol awareness and the autism are very, very important issues. So keep them in your mind and in your thoughts throughout the rest of this month. And with that, I'll move on to the next item number 4. Item number 4 is beach badges, veterans exemptions. A few weeks ago, Mr. Morse came before this governing body and spoke to us about putting a program into effect to provide free beach badges for our veterans throughout the town. Certainly, it's a minor thing for us to provide veterans with for all that they've done for us, throughout their lives. And I spoke to Jim Wheeland about the mechanics of doing it, and Jim is got everything lined up and all set to go. If we just have a nod from the governing body to move forward, we would be providing a free beach badge to any veteran that has veteran status that comes in the recreation department.
I just want to note something too.
Yes.
The law that was provided, that deals with tidal waters.
Right.
Which we don't require any badges for any of the tidal waters in town. So you're doing something that's not actually, you can do this, I don't want to say that you can't do it, but you're doing something that's not even being prompted by the state. You're
Right.
doing something, you're kind of going above and beyond.
Yeah, it's a decision by the governing body, to move forward. So if everyone's in favor of it, somebody will make a motion.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
So this is allowing the veteran in the household to have the free beach badge?
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure that's clear, so I'll send a memo out to Mr., and they have to show some kind of proof, whether it's the veteran's exemption on their property or some other means.
Mr. Morse has a card, whatever.
Right, okay.
Guy in the third row, talk to him, whatever it is, he'll tell you. But it's something very important, Mr. Morse, so we thank you for bringing it to us. And, we know you're involved with a lot of veterans groups in town, so maybe you can get the word out for us if, those folks don't watch TV, so thank you very much. Okay, number 5, request to place trailer on property.
This is a sandy damaged home on 866 Rose Street. They're in the process of ready to demolish the home, and they would like to stay on the property during the demolition in order to have a better oversight of the construction, and of course to watch the contents of what would be remaining on the property. I spoke to Loretta, and as long as they meet her requirements with regards to where the trailer is going to be placed, she doesn't foresee a problem with it, and they're looking for about 6 months to place the trailer on the property.
I know we've done this on other properties with sandy damaged homes for 6 months, so if everyone's in favor, somebody want to make a motion?
When does the clock start for the?
I would think that should let the clock start from the date that the demo begins.
Okay.
No, I think they're doing it from the date the permit is issued, because the trailer could be placed on the property and the demo could wait 3 months before they demo.
Okay, so you're waiting until the demo permit is issued?
Yeah, once they issue the permit downstairs, I think they're starting the clock then with certainly the availability of extending it, but they just want to see
Okay.
movement on the activity itself.
I'm just saying to standardize it because I think
That's what
we're
we've
gonna
done in the
start
past,
to
yeah.
see more
Okay.
of that.
Yeah,
Alright, that's fine.
so,
We have a motion, Summers?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Okay, item number 6, special use permits, Popcorn Park Zoo, May 3rd, vendor craft fair, Popcorn Park Zoo, June 21st and 23rd, Rock 2 Adopt, Lenoka Oaks Vets, May 18th, open house event.
Okay, as you can see, these are all special use permits outside the scope of their initial zoning applications. Popcorn Park Zoo has held both of these events in the past. Again, this is the standard vendor craft fair on May 3rd. And a rain date of May 4th. The Popcorn Park Zoo, their Rock to Adopt event, which has turned out to be a very successful event for them for the weekend of June 28th and 29th. And then, of course, Dr. Wyman of Lenoka Oaks is looking to have a open house from 10 to 4 on May 18th. In addition to his special use permit, he is also looking for permission to authorize him to be able to park his employees' parking and obviously patrons that plan on attending the event at Jones Road, which is quite a distance, but that's the only spot that he feels is available to bus his employees and any interested patrons to his site, because Hebrew Park will be heavily used that day for soccer events. So he's also looking for a Jones Road parking. The one time, he had over 800 people attend his event, so obviously at his site, there isn't ample parking or anywhere adjoining to it.
Wow. Anyone have any questions, or?
Police department sign off on that?
Usually, the police department does not sign off on any of these and never have in the past because it's private property.
Yeah, just zoning, Loretta's the one who
Right.
signs off. If everyone's okay, can I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item number 7, one-day social affairs permit, Ocean Township Republican Club, September 27th, Lacey Elks.
Just my notes here. Okay, the Ocean Township Republican Organization is looking to hold an event open to the public on September 27th at the Lacey Elks. They just need permission from myself and the chief to sign off on the social affairs permits.
Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
Okay.
All in
All in
favor?
favor?
All right.
Okay, no add-ons?
I have no add-ons here, no.
Yeah, item
and
number
we don't
8,
need that.
resolution
We
2.
don't, I don't think we need that this evening, right?
Yeah, we're
I
not
have-
doing that, okay. Have a motion to close the caucus meeting?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have executive tonight, so we're going to jump right into our regular meeting at this point. Okay, Township of Lacey, April 10, 2014, regular meeting. Adequate notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act pursuant to Public Laws 1975. Said notice was advertised in the Asbury Park Press and the Lacey Beacon and was posted on the bulletin board showing the time and the place of the meeting. Again, we're going to begin with the salute to the flag and a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item number 1, first reading of ordinance 2014-09, amending chapter 291 entitled Stormwater Regulations for Non-Pinelands Area.
In order to the Township of Lacey County, Ocean State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 291 entitled Stormwater Regulations from Non-Pinelands Areas, so as to create Section 291 8.1 entitled Private Storm Drains Inlet Retrofitting. This is in accordance with the new DEP standards, and we must update our code in order to meet those standards with regards to the private storm drain inlet retrofitting.
Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Most?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor Quinn.
Yes. Item number 2, second reading of ordinance 2014-05, establishing a policy for direct deposit of payroll.
In order to the Township of Lacey County, Ocean State of New Jersey, requiring all municipal employees of the township to be compensated by direct deposit only commencing July 1st, 2014. This is with regards to the public law of 2013, Chapter 28, that takes effect July 1st, 2014, with regards to how payroll is deposited for municipal employees.
Being the second reading, I'll open to the public. Is there any public comment? Yes, Fred? It's only on this one ordinance, though. Yeah. Yep.
Seeing none, motion to close the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion on the ordinance?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Most?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor Quinn.
Yes. Item number 3, second reading of ordinance 2014-06, amending Chapter 335 zoning so as to create the Affordable Housing Redevelopment Zone.
In order to the Township of Lacey County, Ocean State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 335 of the Township Code of the Township of Lacey entitled zoning so as to amend various sections of the code. This is just authorizing Block 1837, lots 8.02 and 9 to be in the AH10R zone, which is the Affordable Housing Redevelopment Zone, which is, again, this block and lot is located where the former nursing home site was at 916 Lacey Road.
Again, being the second reading, open up to public comment.
Seeing none, motion to close the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have a motion on the ordinance.
Move it.
Second.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Most?
Yes.
Mayor Quinn.
Yes. Item number 4, second reading of ordinance 2014-07, amending Chapter 335 zoning so as to create regulations for solar and wind facilities.
In order to the Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 335 entitled zoning so as to create Section 335-41.1 entitled solar and wind facilities. This is just adding these standards with regards to solar and wind facilities in the zoning section of the code book. This has been approved and reviewed by the Pinelands Commission as well.
Again, being the second reading, I'll open it up for public comment.
Seeing none, motion to close the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion on the ordinance?
Move it.
Second.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Most?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
Yes. Item number 5, second reading of ordinance 2014-08, amending Chapter 335 zoning so as to create regulations for wireless telecommunications equipment.
In order to the Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 335 entitled zoning so as to create Section 335-49.2 entitled wireless communications equipment. Again, this is a standard to be put into the zoning section of the code with regards to wireless communications equipment.
Again, being the second reading, I'll open it up for public comment.
Seeing none, motion to close the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion on the ordinance?
Move it.
Have a second?
Second.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Most?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor Quinn.
Yes. Item number 6, resolution 2014-110, awarding a contract for the Bayberry Drive road improvements.
Resolution to Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, awarding a contract to Swift and Sons Incorporated for the Bayberry Drive Village resurfacing project. This is for the base bid only. The total amount of the contract is $143,253.03. There were 4 bidders that put in. Unfortunately, due to budget constraints, we only can award the base bid section of the bid.
Can I have a motion?
Move it. Second.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Most?
Yes.
Mayor Quinn.
Yes. Item number 7, resolution 2014-111, authorizing the release of a performance bond for block 1530, lots 26 through 29.
Resolution to Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing release of a performance bond posted for block 1530, lots 26 through 29 by Beach Coast Builders LLC. This is being released since the site improvements have been placed onto the site and have been approved.
Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Can I have a
Second.
Mr. Most?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mayor Quinn.
Yes. Item number 8, resolution 2014-112, authorizing the transfer of credit balances.
Resolution to Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing the tax collector to transfer credit balances from the year 2013 to the year 2014.
Can I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Most?
Yes.
Mayor Quinn.
Yes. Item number 9, resolution 2014-113, authorizing the refund of deposit monies.
Resolution to Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing the refund of deposits held for the use of municipal facilities.
Can I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Most?
Yes.
Mayor Quinn.
Yes. Item number 10, resolution 2014-114, authorizing the payment of township bills.
Resolution to Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing the payment of township bills in the amount of $4,296,026.13.
Can I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Most?
Yes.
Mayor Quinn.
Yes. Item number 11, motion to approve the township meeting minutes of March 27, 2014.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item number 12, motion to approve raffle license application for the Forked River Fire Company.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any add-ons?
Yes, I have one add-on tonight. It's Resolution 115. It's a resolution of Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing the employment of James Peters as a temporary part-time building subcode official for the Township of Lacey. Our current building subcode official is going to be retiring in the very near future, and he has some extended vacation time that he'll be using, so we're hiring a temporary, as-needed part-time building subcode official.
Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Mr. Most?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
All right, that's all I have to add on.
Okay, comments from the committee. Ms. Nichols?
Yes, thank you. Just a couple of updates for the residents about goings-on in Lacey Township. Route 9 and Lacey Road is slated to be completed in the next several weeks. The contractor does have a contract to complete the project by May 16th. Looks like they should. A lot of things do affect that, weather being one of them. I think the worst of the weather is hopefully over, and hopefully that will be an improvement. We'll have to wait and see. White Castle, at this point in time, does not have a tentative start date. They have a requirement to apply for a Route 9 access permit. They have not done that as of yet. We'll keep you updated as that goes on. If you look at the opposite corner, which would be the southeast corner of that intersection, you'll see a few buildings were just knocked down. There's nothing proposed to go there. The property owner simply applied for a demolition permit to knock the buildings down. What will happen there, we don't know. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Dykoff. Mr. Curatolo?
Yes, I'll be brief, Mayor. Next week, I'll be attending the New Jersey Association of County and City Health Officials. It's a once annual program, and it's comprehensive. It's great for an elected official. It's great for a law enforcement official. It covers just about every metric you can imagine within a day. It's at a county college out west. I think it's Cumberland County College.
Mercer.
Mercer.
Right? Yeah, Mercer.
Thank you. What I wouldn't do without Ron.
I'm not saying I'm right.
I appreciate it. You probably are. So, we go out there and it not only talks about, and it measures the life quality, and it ranks each and every one of our 21 counties in New Jersey, but it also will have it to touch on law enforcement, because a lot of times, public health crosses over into public safety, especially if you're talking about alcohol, drugs, motor vehicle accident, DUI. So these are some of the things we look at, and we learn where there's weaknesses, and that's the real benefit to the public, and we learn how to improve. So I'm involved in that process now. I'm looking forward to bringing that back to the committee and my colleagues here, and I know some of my colleagues have attended in the past, and so you'll have further reports about that in the future. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Curatolo. Mr. Most?
Yes, good evening to all the residents in Lacey Township. We were talking in our caucus about that trailer with Hurricane Sandy, and it's nice to see some of the money from the REM starting to roll in these folks so they can get their lives back in order. But I want to thank Congressman Runyon's office for actually proposing that bill that was passed into law, that reform bill with the Bigger Waters Act, which prolongs the increase for flood insurance, because these folks, a lot of them haven't gotten back in their homes, and they don't need a big increase in their flood insurance during that evolution of getting back in their homes. So I want to thank Congressman Runyon's office for that. Moving on to recreation, I just left the art exhibit that was held at the Captain's Inn. Our recreation department holds that every year, and the kids, it's unbelievable work they do there. I want to thank James Weiland, our recreation director, and I also want to thank Josie. She's the teacher that actually harnesses these young children's talents and puts it on canvas, and it's really nice to see the whole brochure they put out, because it actually talks about what inspires these students, and it's amazing the talent that they have, and they'll carry that with them for the rest of their lives. And I'd like to thank some of the sponsors: Forked River Framing right here in town, Tom and Dee's Italian Ice, Forever Young Nursery School, LBI Express, E-Video Productions, Home Turf, Lawn Maintenance, and CWR Marine. And thank you for the Captain's Inn for hosting it again. We appreciate that. Also went tonight to our task force meeting. It was a busy day. This is from our prosecutor's office. Are you listening? And this is going to be, we're going to have some guest speakers from the county, and Richie Sambora is going to be there Tuesday, May 27th. It's going to be held from 5 to 9 p.m. Veronica, if you could put this up on our website for people to register. This is held in the Pine Belt Arena, and they're going to have some really great guest speakers there. Douglas S. Collier, he's a great speaker, talks about the whole drug epidemic, and it's and Maureen Jesse and Tyler John Morella, and talks about Jesse's journey and the aftermath of using experimental drugs. And then we have our own Nancy Joyce that sits on our task force, and she shares her experience too. So it's going to be a really informative night, and I know Lacey Township has so many seats that are actually for our schools. I think it's actually 150 seats that are dedicated for Lacey, but please get on that website and tell them that you'd like to participate in that. So I'll leave that with Veronica.
Thank you.
If I could touch on that one.
Sure, go touch on that.
Thank you so much. And I neglected to mention this. I was at a meeting for this. This is a very large event. Prosecutor Coronado has, and his staff have enlisted they have enlisted Richie Sambora to come. Richie Sambora, as I understand it, is laying out about $40,000 of his own money. And they're hoping to get a minimum of 5,000 people at this venue. We had a meeting just the other day at the Elks. Of course, we saw representation from all around the county. Doug Collier, the DEA agent, Committeeman Most just referenced. And these are some of the people that we have regular interaction with at the County Health Department, the Alcohol and Drug Unit, IDRC. And some of these folks that will be speaking, we encourage as many students and parents to come out to this event as possible. I know that if you, as I understand it, Richie Sambora of Bon Jovi, or formerly of Bon Jovi, is going to be releasing a song for the first time. So it's going to be an exciting event, and it's going to be an empowering event. And there's going to be many, many credentialed people there. Any type of avenue you can imagine. If you need help, if you have questions, we encourage people to go. It's going to be a county-wide event. You do have to go to the website and sign up. You'll not be allowed in at the door. And they're anticipating so many people that they're going to have an overflow into another part of the center where you'll be able to at least view the event on a large screen. So really, I mean, this county and the stakeholders in this county and the leaders of our county, starting with the freeholders right on down, have been really the model for all of the 21 counties. And you can tell because some of the other counties come to us and look to us for guidance for programs like this. So it's a real testament to the amount of work that the people have put in from all around our county. Certainly not just me, a very small part of it. But if you have an opportunity, I said Veronica will put it up, take a look at it, and I certainly would encourage that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Pete, for that. We also discussed in our task force meeting, we know it as Narcan, and it's called naloxone. Did
Yes.
I pronounce that correct, Pete? And that comes in a mist spray, and the mayor will be talking about that, won't you, Mayor?
Yeah.
So you'll cover that part, and then we talked about how that would be distributed for folks, families that are afflicted with addicts in their home. You know, it's a safe life. It's a measure that would save their lives. So there's different organizations out there, and we're putting that together. There's more to come on that, and the mayor will talk about that. So I'm going to move now to the rec department. Everybody knows that we renovated Hebrew Park because we had to. A lot of that equipment was past its shelf life there, and it was damaged, and it would put kids in harm's way. So that park's rebuilt. So May 17th is the cutting ceremony, and I'm sorry, the 11 o'clock's the cutting ceremony, and we want to thank the Rotary Club for helping us out with that. But we also have the Family Fun Walk in Hebrew Park as well, and that's from 10 in the morning till noon. So please come out, and hopefully it'll be a wonderful day. The park is beautiful. Have any of you guys seen the park?
Yes, it's nice.
It's a wonderful job, and it's for the community to enjoy. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Oh, sorry. I just want to thank the Elks for the 5K run. I participated in that. Thank all the volunteers. They do such fine work for all our veterans and stuff. And it rained, but I'll tell you, all the runners ran through it, and they had a lot of participation each year. They build on it. So I want to thank all the members from the Elks, and we're truly proud of the Elks and all their volunteers. Sorry, Mayor.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I want to thank Dave. I was out of town that day, and he went down to, I asked him if he was going to be going down, and knowing that Dave is the guy that always, when there's a race or something going on physically in town, he's the one who always steps up to the plate on behalf of the five of us. So I want to thank you for going down there. I thought of you that afternoon, because it didn't just rain, it was pouring that day. So, I was wondering whether or not it had gone off, and then I saw the next day it had. So, you certainly represented us well, and I'm not going to ask you what place you came in.
No, it's
I'm sure
okay. There was like
in the top
135 runners. I came in like 35th, but my daughter ran in it too, as well as my granddaughter. So she did the 1 mile. She actually ran it. So
That's great.
It was a family fun day for us. So
We appreciate it.
Great cause.
And like Dave said, the Elks, truly goes above and beyond for this community. So special thanks to them for everything that they do. I also just want to mention a couple of us were down at Clune Park over the weekend for the opening of the baseball Little League baseball season just started, and I just want to extend a special thanks to the individuals that are involved not only in Little League but in all of our sporting programs here in town that get out there and do so much as volunteers for these boys and girls that are involved in different programs. That was a nice day. The weather was great that day, and it turned out to be a real nice event. I know when we left, there was quite a few people that were going to be spending the day down there, and you could see the excitement in the air because it was finally starting to get a little bit warmer than we've seen in the last couple of months. So, but special thanks to all those volunteers, the executive board, and everybody that gets involved in the coaching programs down there. I have some police stats here, and some of which address the Narcan issue, which Mr. Most just brought up. These were provided to me by the chief right after the task force meeting that you all attended. The statistics are for the month of March 2014. Lacey Township Police Department handled 4,343 calls for service during the month of March, 835 motor vehicle stops resulting in 290 summonses and 149 written warnings. 70 motor vehicle accidents, 191 first aid calls, 13 DWI arrests, 81 physical arrests, and 16 drug arrests. The officers of the police department now have the medication Narcan available in their patrol vehicles in the event of a drug overdose involving painkillers or heroin. The medication is an antidote that immediately reverses the deadly effect of an opium overdose. The police department has investigated 10 overdose cases so far this year. One of the 10 cases involved a death, but the official cause of the death has yet to be determined by the Ocean County Medical Examiner. Chief Peprada is working with the local family to bring Narcan training to Lacey Township for parents who are interested in obtaining the antidote to keep it within their households. The Overdose Prevention Act of 2013 allows a person who may be in a position to assist another individual during an overdose to receive the training and obtain a Narcan kit. The chief is looking to organize a training session for the third week of May. Anyone interested in participating in the training can send a confidential email to the chief through the department website or directly to Chief Peprada at laceytownship.org. Those who are interested only need to express their interest within the email and do not need to identify themselves. Chief Peprada will forward the email to the local resident that's handling the training, who will respond back to obtain further contact information. This effort is being taken as another step to help reduce the number of deaths related to overdoses. The National Prescription Take-Back Day is scheduled for Saturday, April 26, 2014. Residents of Lacey are reminded that the township has a prescription drop box in the lobby of police headquarters every day. Residents can simply walk into the lobby of police headquarters, anonymously drop their unwanted or expired medication in the secure box. The medications may be left in the original container or placed in a separate bag when it's dropped in the box. No liquids or syringes are permitted. The box is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's something that the task force had really been key in getting in Lacey Township. I guess 2 or 3 years ago it was all started, and it came to reality last year. But like Dave said, Peter has talked about, this Narcan antidote is such an important tool if you have a loved one or somebody you know that is using heroin. It recently was used over in Seaside, and they were able to bring the individual back, after the overdose actually took their life. So it's a very important thing to have. It's well worth the training if you're in that situation, and it's all going to be done anonymously. So we'll do anything we can to help you, but If you have somebody in that situation, please send an email to the chief, and he'll get it all set up for you. I know you guys are both on the task force. You want to touch on anything else with regards to
Well, I think it's important, Mayor, to let people know, some people may be apprehensive. There will be training, but just to be sure, some of the things we came in across, where I work, some of the concerns were, they thought this Narcan was through a syringe. It's not through a syringe, it's intranasal. So it's more or less a high-powered nasal spray apparatus. Okay, so you're not going to be administering a syringe to anyone. So I just wanted to dispel, I know that was out there, that was floating around. That's not the case in this regard with this particular effort. So I just wanted to alleviate any fears anyone may have had. That's all.
Dave, you saying?
This is sort of first come, first serve for the first 20 people, because there's an outside organization that's going to be coming in town, and they limited it to 20, but we'll see how many interested people we have, and we'll try to accommodate all the needs of the community, of course. So, thank you for mentioning it.
And if you watch the news, you watch the state news, whatever's out there now, this is a problem that exists everywhere, and there's a tremendous push going on in the state of New Jersey right now to train police departments throughout the entire state and get like you said, these are in the police cars now, so we have the ability to take and utilize them. Our EMS squads can utilize it, but it all comes down to whether or not somebody gets there in time to reverse the overdose prior to that individual not being able to be brought back. So it's something that can save a life, and it's something that's very, very important to take and address if you do have somebody in your family that has this issue.
Mayor?
Yes, Peter.
Sorry, one more.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time, thank you. Let me just want to be clear, this is not a cure, this will buy you some time. The patient, the person will most assuredly still have to go to a hospital emergency room. You can't give this and walk away, so you'll get that education when you get the training. This will buy you some time. And without going into the deep chemical part of the synapses and the receptors, what it'll do, the take-home point is it will buy the time. It's not a cure-all, okay? Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. And that's the end of my comments. I'll open the floor to the public. Mr. Moss?
Thank you, Bill Moss, Biscayne Drive, Forked River Beach. As I normally do when I get up here, when you pay the bills. On the bills this week, $4,296,026.14. Public should know that $3,434,220 of that is going to our school system, so that leaves the township running with $861,000, not the $4,200,000 that it sounds like. Second thing, I want to thank the council for passing that thing on getting the veterans for the disabilities or veterans, period, the no beach badge fee. The veterans that want to know where they can get an identification card, I don't have the addresses with me, but we have the American Legion here. We have a meeting the first Monday of every month at City Hall, Community Hall on Route 9. They can stop in at our meetings and we can give them the addresses of both Toms River and Barnegat or Manahawkin, where they can go and literally get a photographed ID card that shows that they are a veteran. If not, they could use their DD-214, but a lot of people don't like to give that up. That's their discharge paper.
Yeah. If they just bring in their tax bill showing their veteran status, we'll take whatever they have. That's not a problem. Yeah. We want to make it as easy as possible. So.
Some of them like to get that ID card because Home Depot will accept it.
Yes.
They
That's
don't
right,
carry
yeah,
the tax
yeah.
thing around and all that, so it makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
And we have those addresses to give to them for free.
Sounds
And they're
good.
welcome to come to our meeting. Like I said, 1 o'clock the first Monday of every month.
Thanks again for bringing that to our attention. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Moss. Mayor, if I could just say something about our recreation schedule. I know our spring schedule is out for this season, so please click on our website. There's all kinds of events for your children and adults as well. And so I encourage you to click on the website.
Thanks, Steve. Brad?
May I sit down?
Sure. Yeah. You just pull it out of the stand itself if you want.
Fred Beglinger, Beach Boulevard, Orchid River. I don't know how many of you know this, but for 60 years I have tried to be an advocate for the taxpayers of Lacey Township. I even formed an organization called We the People at one time, which was not successful because there was internal disorder caused by some people who thought that it had to be run the way they wanted it run. So I left it. About 2 years ago, I brought the drug problem to the attention of the committee, and at that time, most of you didn't know anything about it, but I already did. For the last 2 years, I have been going out on foot at night to the Wawa, to the parking lot where the hometown dairy is, to Burger King, to Wendy's, and I've lost the use of my car, so I walk a lot. And when I'm walking, I see hypodermic needles and all kinds of little bottles and spoons and evidence of rampant drug use in the community. The police cannot solve this problem on their own. Taxpayers of Lacey, listen to me. When you see something you think is suspicious, don't investigate it. Call the police. Give them the information and wait for them to act. There are legitimate reasons with drug traffic and drug distributors why they may not be able to act for a period of time. So if they don't send a couple of cars there right away, don't be discouraged. But you have to help. The lives of our children and of many adults are at stake. Getting on to another problem. Tuesday night, I got off the bus at Beach Boulevard, and the packages I got in ShopRite weighed an awful lot. And by that time, I was very tired. I started up Beach Boulevard, and there was a burst of traffic. So I turned around, looking at the cars coming at me, and put my thumb out, because I knew I couldn't make it home. And I was feeling pain in my back and breathing difficulty, and I had to take a nitro, and I considered this an emergency. 2 Lacey policemen stopped me while I was standing under a street light, and I did not have my thumb out. I did not have my thumb out at the time. They immediately got out of the car and told me they were going to put handcuffs on me. Well, they put handcuffs on me. I didn't resist what they were doing, except the handcuffs were very, very tight. As you can see, my wrist isn't large, but my hand is large. So I couldn't have, even if they put them on loosely, I couldn't get them off. But they put them on so they were very tight and squeezed the skin. And I kept saying, the handcuffs are hurting me. Please loosen them. The handcuffs are hurt. I said this many times. Then they told me, without any loosening of the handcuffs, which weren't necessary to begin with. I have enough sense that I'm not going to run away from them. If they think it's a legitimate arrest, they deserve my cooperation. They told me to go lean against the telephone pole under whose light I was standing. And they turned the spotlights, the swivel lights on the cars, and shined them right in my face. And I said, I can't look at the spotlights. I said, because I have a problem with glare due to an injury when I was small, when I was blind. They would not take the spotlights off of me, kept shining them in my face and asking me a bunch of stupid questions. Then they said they were going to take me and put me in the car, in one of the cars. And I couldn't get my legs in. So one of the officers, and I don't remember who it was, grabbed my feet and started twisting them, and twisting my leg and pushing against my legs to try to slide me in. And I kept saying, you're hurting me, you're hurting me, you're hurting me. 6 years of effort by an osteopath to get me to just be able to walk. And a lot of expenditure of money went down the drain. And why I say that is because I couldn't walk well enough to get home, nor did I think I was going to be able to get out of the car. Well, they pulled me out of the car. And I knew my legs were injured because the pain was becoming very difficult to deal with. Along came a Waretown policeman, and he was there because the Lacey police told him that I was wanted on 2 warrants in Waretown for not having car insurance. Well, the following day, I went down to the Waretown clerk and showed him my receipt from AAA for car insurance. I told the Waretown court officer to let his chief know that his men, the 2 or 3 that were with me when I got there, were gentlemen. They did not abuse me. It was just like friends. They felt sorry for me, and they took me all the way to my house and dropped me off there, and the court clerk said that there's probably not going to be any charge against me. I've made an appointment with my orthopedic surgeon, and he's going to examine me and x-ray me and try to give me something for the pain. And maybe it's going to involve an operation. I am not going to bear the cost of this. I probably will have to go out of Ocean County to find a lawyer who's not going to be afraid to charge the township with criminal abuse by the police department. And I'm sorry to do this. I apologize to all of you. But they went too far, and the look on their face, when enough light was on their face from passing cars, they looked quite excited by what they were doing. I believe that they were enjoying it. I told them I was going to be 80 years old shortly, and that my circulation was not good, and that by squeezing my wrists with those handcuffs, it was causing me extraordinary pain. The twisting of my legs and my feet may have done permanent damage. I really don't know. They had no cause to hate me. I was completely cooperative. The only protest I gave them is that they were hurting me. I believe they were putting this on camera. Part of the film probably is destroyed by now, but I hope that you all get an opportunity to look at it. As you could imagine, I never believed at my age and my condition, and I told them what my condition was, that Waretown Police would be giving me a ride home, feeling sorry for me. I thought maybe after they realized I was not a criminal, they took everything out of my pockets. And even asked me questions like, why do I carry 2 pairs of sunglasses? And I said, because I have a tendency to lose them, so I usually make sure I have 2 when I leave the house. They said, well, we had to restrain you because we don't know whether you have a knife or guns or explosives or what you're carrying. I think that's a very weak and insulting excuse. I'm deeply disturbed, and I hope you're concerned. I had asked you 3 times for an appointment to speak with Chief Paparota. I have so much information about the drug activity that could have saved the township many thousands of dollars, because I was doing a job that an undercover policeman would do. I saw a boy who was maybe 5 or 6 years old, so drunk out of his mind that he didn't even know what he was doing, and all he could do, when I tried to talk to him to ask him if he was okay and where are his parents, he couldn't even talk. All he could do was laugh and jump around and run in circles. What I subsequently found out, and I'll tell you what happened. There are people now. Caffrey's Tavern is a place where I've eaten. It's a place where I've drunk on occasion. Not become drunk, but had drinks on occasion. On Friday and Saturday night, there are people coming out of Caffrey's with bottles of beer for the kids who hang out with bicycles at Waretown, and they go in to give the kids the beer, buy them cigarettes, and I looked in all the bushes where the kids threw them around the property. The last time I checked it, it has been cleaned up. I don't think the people who run Caffrey's even know that this is happening. But I'm telling you, and I'm telling them by speaking about it. But this is just one of the things. There's a whole pile of things I could have helped the police department with, but yet they did not want my help. And I'm sorry about that, but that's not going to stop me from trying to help them. Thank you for listening to me.
Fred, just a couple comments. First of all, with regards to the meeting with the chief, you and I spoke about it 2 or 3 times, and the chief, I told you, is no problem getting together meeting, and that's still an invitation that's open to you at your convenience when you want to get together. I'll sit in, with the chief, yourself, and myself, and talk with him, whatever you want to talk about, whatever issues.
Well, what I want to talk about is giving him information which I wouldn't release to anyone except him.
Right.
But you can be there. I'd be very happy to have you there.
I have no problem. I'd be happy to do that. He's going to be out of town until the 22nd, I believe, but if you want to let me know 2 or 3 dates in the end of the month, I'd be happy to set something up with you on that.
Well, what I would like you to do is find out when he's available, because his schedule is more demanding than mine. So I will adjust my schedule to his schedule so that he will not be inconvenienced by sitting down and talking.
Do you have a phone you could leave with us? A phone
I
number?
don't.
You don't have a phone number? Okay.
No.
Okay. we'll reach out to you then.
But I'll try to get it, I'll try to get a cell phone. And, I guess a letter would do too.
Okay. But
Okay.
moving aside from that, the other issue, which you sitting here talking about tonight with regards to this, incident that took place the other night on Beach Boulevard, I did get a call from the chief earlier today, and he wanted to bring me up to speed on the entire situation because it did not go, and just slide past everybody. The chief, when you made the comments out on the site that you were going to be going to the governing body at the next township meeting and talking to the governing body, that certainly, put emphasis on it with the chief to make sure that he looked into it. He did look into it, and the incident, as far as the information I received from the chief, was that you were stopped walking on Beach Boulevard for hitchhiking, which is a violation. It is breaking the law because hitchhiking is not a permitted thing. But that wasn't what created the entire situation. Our police department, when they stop somebody for an incident, and you weren't written up for anything with hitchhiking, as far as I understand, that was just the original stop was because of that reason. But the police, when they stop an individual, whether it be you, me, or anybody sitting up here or anybody sitting in the room, they automatically put your name into the system, and it comes back to tell them whether or not there's any warrants for an individual that exist in anywhere throughout the state.
I have no objection to that.
Yeah, well, in your situation, there was an outstanding warrant from Waretown, the next town to the south, that warrant that was put out for your arrest, which is what put them into a situation where they had to retain you. And unfortunately, whether you're 21 years old or 60 years old, they follow protocol, and the handcuffs were a necessary thing according to the chief. And the chief runs our department, and I have nothing but 100% faith in him. It's a necessary thing to take and do that to somebody when they are put under arrest.
I have no objection to that either. It's only that they made them too tight and it was hurting me.
Yeah.
That's what I kept repeating.
Yeah, well, I can't comment on that because that's, I would stand behind my police department 100% because I know what they're doing. Yeah.
I understand that too.
They did follow protocol, they did what they were supposed to do, and that's why Waretown actually sent the vehicle up, because what must have happened was you probably had a court date where you didn't show up for the court date, and unfortunately the judge automatically issued the arrest warrant for you, which was in the system.
I knew nothing about warrants, and I don't run away from the law.
Oh, no, I understand.
I don't run away from warrants. If I knew they were there, I would have gone down.
Yeah.
I never received it, and probably the reason why I never received it is because the kids in my area who are doing drug dealing go into people's mailboxes and take mail out of the boxes, and if they find checks in the mail, they will try to catch or alter them or cash them for drugs.
Yeah, and I understand that, but as
So
our situation with the police department, when they saw the warrant existed, that was the reaction. They had to follow that protocol and notify Waretown. Now, it sounds like when you got to Waretown and they brought you into the station, you were able to resolve it within the next day, and the Waretown police drove you home that evening, which is great. That's good to see that occurred.
That's how I got my package home.
Yeah,
because of the
but
Waretown
our
police.
department had to follow the protocol, and the chief looked at the entire scenario that took place, and it was 100% within the regulations that we have to adhere to. Whether a person, like I said, whether a person's a teenager or a person's a senior citizen like yourself and I. So.
Or a crippled old man.
Yeah.
What
It's
threat was
unfortunate.
I to two officers? When I told them I was being hurt, and they should have released the pressure. I'm not saying they should have taken the cuffs off. If that's standard, then they didn't do anything wrong. But when I told them I was being hurt, they should have loosened the cuffs. And when they were forcing me in the back of the sedan and twisting of the SUV and twisting my legs and twisting my feet, and I said, "You're hurting me." And I got rather loud about it because it hurt a lot. That they shouldn't have done that.
No.
They should have said, "Well, maybe you can size yourself." I was trying to do that, but they got impatient with me.
Right. I can't, like I said, I can't comment because I wasn't there, but I do know for a fact that the chief.
I don't lie.
Yeah, chief did follow
I think
through.
you've checked enough things
Yeah.
I've said that I don't
Yeah.
lie.
But I'm glad that Waretown, put it to bed, and the arrest warrant is gone. So
And any surgery that I need because of that incident, I don't expect to pay for it.
Again, that would be something I wouldn't comment on, because if
Well,
if
you
you,
can't.
yeah, if it's gonna be a suit that you're looking to pursue, then you'd have to, have counsel reach out to our counsel, so.
Right.
But feel better though, Fred.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks. Anyone else? Mr. Yaklis? Just your name and address.
Pete Yakulis, St. Clair Avenue, Lenoka Harbor. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Yep.
Okay. I'm here to talk about, for the last 3 years, I've been running in conjunction with Team Jake Michael, the Autism Speaks charity softball tournament at Gilly Park. Last year, actually, we did it back in November. I have the minutes from the meeting where we went into effect, and I'll read them. I want to read them. Autism Speaks fundraiser, the Wall family, who sponsors Team Jake Michael, is requesting the use of Gilly Park on November 2nd and 3rd for a softball tournament. The event will raise funds for Autism Speaks in conjunction with the Hotshot Girls Softball Team. Motion was made by Mr. Quinn, seconded by Mr. Sharkey to approve the event. Motion carried. Last year we did it the prior year, we did it the prior year before that. The Hotshots run the event. We do it, I know the Walls, I know Tammy since high school, we grew up together in North Jersey. I do it solely for them and for pretty much to bring teams into town to use the facility. My team does not participate in it. We help run it in conjunction with Team Jake Michael and the Autism Speaks people. Every year we've run into some kind of obstacles. Things have changed, we've met the obstacles, and we move forward. This year again, we went to present it. We ran into a few obstacles, we took care of them, then we were throwing a few more curveballs. For the last 3 years, the Hotshot softball team has been using our liability policy, which we named the Township, the Recreation Department, and Gilly Park for liability. It meets all the standards of the Township. We've also run the tournament completely ourselves with the help of Team Jake Michael, would set up a stand, we do a concession stand, we do a field maintenance and everything. Now we're told this year that we have to have Team Jake Michael have the liability policy. Why, I don't know, because we have the liability policy. And at the same time, that they have to mandatory that the Wall family has to be there at all times. Tammy Wall spoke to Jim over at the Recreation Point. She said she's not going to be able to do that this year. Her daughter's having twins around the same time, which is May 18th. And at the same time, she's got a family member that's a little ill, well, very ill, and she's been doing a lot of trips to New Jersey. So I'm here to appeal to you all to try to get this back on the agenda to have this tournament run for May 18th. And that's pretty much why I'm here.
Mayor?
Let me just say a few words on this, because I don't know if anyone else spoke to Jim. Jim came to me on this issue. The letter came in, Pete, submitted the letter, just like he normally has. But there was some question as to the signature on the letter, whether or not it was Tammy Wall, and Jim reached out to Tammy, to make sure that this was a Team Jake Michael event, and Tammy didn't even know the letter had been written, and that raised a red flag.
Sure.
And it could be material, it could be nothing
Right,
at all.
and based on that, we did have John Wall reach out to Jim via telephone saying that he did give permission to have a third-party signed letter. And based on attorney from the law books in New Jersey, I don't read it out loud. Under the law, a person commits forgery when he or she alters a legally significant document in a manner intended to defraud another person. A significant document is one that affects rights and/or duties. It is permissible for a person having been asked to sign for someone else and will be doing so to assist that person. You are not intending to defraud anyone or not doing so. Thus, you are not committing fraud by signing the document in question. When one person gives another person permission to sign a legally significant document on his behalf, the signer is essentially acting as an authorized representative of that person. Under the law, this is called procuration, which means proximate agent. Basically meaning one acting on behalf of another with the other's authority. In order to legally sign for someone else, the signer must have a verbal or written consent by that person, which we did get.
And going a little further with that, we never said we were going to charge anyone with fraud on a letter.
Oh, I know, I just want to make sure,
yeah,
because I know that.
That wasn't
we
the
talked
issue.
about that, and I've known you for years, and I know.
Yeah.
I just
And
want
I know
to
you're
make
trying
that
to- you're trying
it
to-
wasn't done in a fraudulent manner, not to include the
Yeah.
walls. Again, Tammy's been, with these 2 commitments. John did, said it was fine. He said, just send it in. Tammy's not around to get her. I know you gotta get it in, so that's what we did.
The problem, Pete, and I talked to you about it a number of times last week, you and I spoke on the
Yeah.
phone, and the problem is that Jim doesn't recommend that we approve this, our recreation director, because he spoke to Tammy, and Tammy does not want the event to take place, with her name attached to it, especially on a weekend when she's not gonna be around town. And I spoke to you and I said, look, you gotta get Tammy's son that has the issue,
Right.
that has the special needs. You have to get Tammy to get in touch with Jim by this
Well, we
past
did. We
week.
had John Wall call up and say
We're not aware of
that
that.
everything's fine.
Well, I spoke to Jim yesterday, and there was no call came in, just so you
Relayed to
know.
us at all.
Because Veronica was there when I spoke to
Because
Jim.
John did call. He actually called me up to confirm that he did speak to Jim about the signing.
That was not relayed to myself or the mayor at all in a conversation
I
we
mean, I
had
could
with
have
Jim
John do it
yesterday.
again. I could have John call you directly.
Yeah, well, that's why I said it had to go through Jim in order to be on the agenda. We had to have the call by the end of the day on Monday, so it was on Tuesday's agenda, which would have put it on our
And that's
table
what I said.
tonight.
That's what I said when John called me and said he took care of everything.
Yeah.
I was okay. He called up, said, all right, the letters, everything's fine. Meaning the letter states that Team Jake Michael and in conjunction with us are doing it, so I thought everything was fine.
Yeah,
And that's when I was throwing the other 2 things, which was the liability insurance and that they had to physically be there, which I don't understand.
They're having to
They
be
felt
physically
more
there.
comfortable being there
Yeah,
since
that's
their
not a requirement
group
from us.
was being represented, and they wouldn't
Right.
have representation there, and they didn't feel comfortable with it.
And the other issue that came up, which Jim brought forward to us, was the fact that our fields are really designed for our children in town pretty much to play on. And being the fact, I mean, I know your team is got a couple of kids from Lacey on it, but being that there's really no Lacey teams participating in this tournament, it does cost the taxpayers money, to prepare the fields, to do all the cleanup. Everything does come to a dollar amount, which unfortunately has to be passed along to the taxpayer. And Jim, was very upfront about the fact that he looks at these things to make sure that, he's covering all the bases so that the fields are being used by the people of Lacey Township. In this situation, they were all outside teams.
Well, wouldn't that be in effect for any kind of tournament that comes into town? Because then that violates the 95% rule.
Usually, it's Lacey Soccer or Lacey Little League sponsoring those tournaments with their teams playing in it
Playing
as
them,
well.
Yeah. But the biggest issue, and it wasn't the fact that Tammy, wasn't gonna be in town, that was nothing to do with this governing body or recreation department. The biggest issue was that Tammy didn't want the event to take place, and that's why I said, by Monday, she's gotta call us. And I know, I've had feedback from people who spoke to Tammy, she did not want to take and have this thing go under her name. And that's what held up the whole thing.
And that's what, like I said, I was under the assumption when John called, said he took
Yeah.
care, that's, I was under the assumption that.
No, I understand
he took
that,
care of
yeah.
it.
But John,
And
like I
then that's when
said,
we talked and he said, now the liability comes into effect.
yeah.
And I mean, our liability policy's been used for the last 3 years.
I think it was Team Jake Michaels
They've
that
also
had,
supplied insurance
one.
to
No,
us.
they didn't.
yeah, we had
Yes,
one with
they
their name
have.
on it,
I
yeah.
don't know, because
Well,
we've always
Yeah,
done it.
yeah.
We actually had, per Jim, I actually gotta go back to the insurance company and make sure I worded it specifically right twice.
Yeah, but it all comes down to the fact that it's a tournament being run for her child, to raise money.
Well, it's TJ
portion-
Michael that
a
contributes the
portion.
money.
To the bigger
the bigger
spectrum,
right.
For them.
Yeah.
Right.
But if the individual that's got their name on it wasn't, willing to take and come in and say, okay, well, I'm part of this whole thing, I want to, see if you guys will approve it, we just couldn't move it forward.
Is there still time if we do? I know you have another meeting coming up in 2 weeks.
You mean to get the walls on board? I mean,
If we have
Well, I'd
them
have to
say,
also see if Casey's gonna have time to prep the fields in the park then, too.
yeah, if we have the available time, the manpower.
Because we're also gonna be prepping that same weekend Hebrew Park.
I can prep the fields. We have all the equipment to prep the fields.
Casey would not
Yeah, he would-
No, well,
appreciate that.
that's it.
You're
Well,
talking
basically
about
what
Mr.
happens with
Parker and his
Casey
love for
and-
his fields.
What usually happens is they'll go in Friday night, because they're not gonna have the guys come in on Saturday, because it's overtime.
Correct.
They come in Friday night or Friday afternoon, they'll do the fields, and then that's it. And then we maintain them for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
With requirement, raking them over, lining them, and putting them back into the same condition before we leave. I mean, we make sure of that, we police them. Same with the garbage and everything like that. So basically, by him doing it Friday night, it's a crapshoot anyway, because kids go on and play with it anyway. By the time we get to it on Saturday morning or Sunday morning, there's actually tournaments on Sunday, so you have all day Saturday, the kids are gonna go play on those fields. So basically, we're prepping them anyway.
What I would say, and, certainly the rest of the committee, jump in any time, would be Tammy would have to reach out to us sometime tomorrow, or come in and really come in and see Jim. But in addition to that, you still have the obstacle that you have to have some Lacey teams playing in the tournament. It just doesn't work, for we can't bend that rule and have all outside teams coming in here and having our taxpayers pay that bill.
Okay.
So those are the two big issues.
All right, so I will reach out to the Lacey Storm organization at the same time, you know, and see if they'll.
And at the same time, you know, Veronica will check with Casey and see if he's okay with prep the field.
Yeah,
But
okay.
you're gonna have to reach out to Veronica.
And like I said, I'm glad you know me. I mean, you've known me for the whole time I've been in town in front of you. I'm just trying to do something good here, you know?
Yeah.
Well, just to also let you know, and I think Jim did bring up that, we are changing our policy with regards to special events in our parks, and there will be fees that are gonna be charged in the near
I
future
saw
for these
that already.
things.
I saw
Yeah.
it. And like I said, this is, thank God, on record, my last year of doing travel. My daughter ages out. Hopefully I'll get to one. I know, right? That's what my wife did.
I'm done with this, I'm through.
I have 7 girls that are sophomores on this team. It's an 18-year. You know, we're not even playing in the tournament either. We're just actually doing it for the whole, you know, the whole. You know,
Yeah. I think the two things, you gotta talk to, you know, some teams to see if you get Lacey teams in.
All right, so if I get, all right, so 2 things. All right, on record. One, I need the Walls to reach out.
Tammy has to come in and talk to Jim.
All right,
That's the
okay,
case.
that, and then 2, I need to get one of the Lacey Storm teams.
Well, yeah, I think you have to have a couple
More
of
than
those.
one.
Yeah, I think you'd have to have whatever Jim requires as far as having a
Yeah.
couple teams in there. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Because we do that with our soccer tournaments, all the different sports.
Right.
Softball does it, but we.
Like I said, I can reach out to Lacey Storm. I know, I heard, you know, see, I call, you know, Mr. Vitale, Mr. Santoro, and find out what they're doing, and then I'll have, you know, Tam or John, either one of them. Right?
Tammy would have to be the one, because it's Tammy that's been the contact that we go to, so
Okay.
she would have to come in.
All right.
And she's got a lot on her plate right now, I know.
I know you know that
Yeah,
she-
yeah, I hate to put the pressure on her, but,
I just went through a license, so I know she's
yeah,
on.
that's
It's a big
a
one.
key component to try and make it work, but,
Okay. All right, so then, tomorrow I got
like I
my
said-
day cut out for me.
you gotta reach out to Veronica and deal with it tomorrow, so.
Okay.
Everyone else? Want to say anything?
We good?
We're good. Thanks, Pete.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Anyone else? Regina?
Okay.
Regina DeSenza, Sunset Drive, Sunrise Beach. I just wanted to remind everyone that the Lacey Township High School PTSA is having a craft fair from 10 to 3 p.m. on Saturday, April 26th, and there's still room for more vendors. Tables, I believe, are $35, and there are application forms in the main office at the high school. And in case anyone wants to attend, the next school board meeting is going to be held on a Tuesday, April 22nd at 7:30 p.m. in the lecture hall. And I have a question. Does anyone know the quantity of tax appeals for 2013?
You get the phone number?
No,
Remember?
Mark, by chance, say when you were meeting with the tax assessor, did he mention the quantity of final tax appeals?
No, we didn't.
No, because they're not all,
They're all
Count
still
them
being
yet?
sorted.
no, they're not.
it's all
And
right.
actually, the official number comes out of the county. Just because we received it doesn't mean it's valid.
Oh, right, you have to get them.
Yeah, the official
Okay.
number comes out of the county, and they're still sorting through them.
I'll check back next week. Thank you.
Thanks, Regina. Otto?
Yep.
What's the name and address?
Otto Rozell, 743 Lakeside Drive, North Portage Road. First, I want to compliment our recreation department and our public works department. Nice job they did with the bulldozers on the lake and the beach right now. It's just a shame that all the work they did last week is down to tubes already.
You started out good, Otto. You started out good.
It started out good, yeah. I thought you should hear something good for a change. You've had a tough night. Our resident Forked River geese have done a job in 5 days. I would suggest that before we consider opening the lake for recreational use, there should be something done either to control our resident geese or just say it's going to be a nature pond and give up on it. Now, I would hate to see that happen, but to spend good money after bad is not what this township needs right now. I don't know if it would even pay to put beach guards on it, because we had more geese on there the first day after they filled the lake up than we had people on the beach the whole year.
I know.
I mean, unfortunately, we have to staff it because it's a liability to the town if we don't have guards there during the normal
How
hours.
come, it would be a liability to the town, how come when the lake is closed, or after the hours that the guards are supposed to be on, there's nobody there, and the beach is being used?
But it's a seasonal beach. We have specific hours that we advertise that the beaches are available to be utilized, so we have to cover those hours.
Because first of all, besides being a waste of money, it seems to me that must be the world's worst job for those guards to sit there all day long with nothing.
It's a very boring job, there's no doubt about it, but it's the most important money you'll ever spend to save a life of a kid that might go there and, God forbid, have a misfortune.
I have about given up on this, because as long as I've been talking to you about the lake and everything else, I've had little or no support from anybody else. They come up to me personally and tell me, gee, it's great you're going up there and trying to do something. But not one of them will go and come up here and just say, just 5 words. So I'm sure you must be getting pretty sick and tired of my badgering.
Oh, no, we'd like to see it, you know?
About the lake. I just gone through this winter here, I have boxes of old slides that I took when the lake was really at its prime. And it's just a shame that they're on slides and I'm not able to really show you pictures of them. Because I think you would be surprised at the difference between then and now. And at that time, I think very little, if any money was spent on anything. But it was a gorgeous place when I was a kid, and we had a lot of fun down here. And I hate to see it go, but I think it's already gone.
I'm sorry, one comment, because I should have said it during my comments itself. This weekend, you'll see a flurry of a lot of kids out there, because Sunday morning, Lacey EMS actually has their Easter egg hunt on that beach, so you'll see a lot of families and young children out there looking for Easter eggs.
I hope so. And I hope they can get by and get on it and not slip all over on the goose doo-doo.
Yeah, you get up at 8 o'clock and they'll be there all morning, so.
Good. I'll be glad to watch them.
You enjoy it,
Thank
Otto.
you.
Have a good holiday.
You too.
Anyone else?
Seeing none, motion to close the floor.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
Move it.
Second?
Come on, somebody.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Well, you guys are asleep at the chair here tonight, you know? Nobody wants to say,